This is Coach Kathy Stone, and today I wanted to talk to you about the number two secret to having a better relationship with food. But before I give it to you, I want to talk to you just a little bit about what drives our behavior and how we get to this relationship with food that is not what we would want it to be. So, we all have a primitive brain, and our brain is always, um, this is the motivational triad. Our brain is always avoiding pain, seeking pleasure, and trying to do it as efficiently as possible. And that's what drives our behavior. And this worked great for us in prehistoric times. But now, with foods being so concentrated and everything, our brain doesn't really know the difference, and it just constantly seeks out those foods. And a lot of fast foods are easy, so that meets the need of being easy. Or you just have a candy bar at the checkout line, so you're seeking the pleasure, you're making it easy, and then you're avoiding the pain of having to cook a healthy meal. And these pleasure centers in our brain pretty much just override that logical part of our brain. And that's how we kind of get in that cycle with eating. We just have this default where we're constantly seeking pleasure, um, trying to make it easier, and avoiding the discomfort. So, the number two secret to having a better relationship with food is planning. Because if you plan out your food ahead of time, your logical brain, your prefrontal cortex basically takes charge of your primitive brain and says, this is what we're going to do today. And so you make decisions ahead of time, and you write things down either the night before or the day of, and you plan out your food, what you're going to eat during that day. And you basically start training your primitive brain, no, we're going to do this. Now, initially it might feel hard because it's new, but if you keep doing it every day, your brain's going to start to like it because it actually is a lot easier. And when you keep things really simple, that's what the brain likes. The brain just doesn't know the difference right now between reaching for that candy bar or eating that simple meal. So your brain is just going to constantly go towards the candy bar, the sugar, the wine, whatever it is, because it's on default, and it's this motivational triad. This is what the your neuro pathway is doing. It's avoiding pain, it's constantly seeking pleasure, and it's just wanting it to be easy. So planning helps kind of break it up, and you take charge of that primitive brain, and you plan it out and you follow it. And then at the end of the day, you are one step ahead of the game because your primitive brain didn't get out of hand, and you learn to discipline it. So if you keep doing this, it just becomes natural. And I've been doing this for years. Like, at the beginning, I used to write down my food, exactly what I was going to eat, and I would stick to it. But now, I mean, for many years, I just do it naturally in my head. Oh, this morning I'm going to eat this. Oh, lunchtime I'm going to eat this, and dinner we're going to have um, chicken and peppers and broccoli and rice, and then I have my snack too. So it becomes natural. I don't really think about it too much. Um, and it's very easy, and my brain loves it. That's why it knows the difference now between real easiness and this easiness, which had long-term consequences. But like I said, the brain doesn't really know the difference, so it's just going to go with with what you teach it. So planning is so important, to make those decisions ahead of time, because when we're in the moment and we don't have a plan, we're just going to be like, oh, well, screw it, or oh, I'll just eat this, or and you'll just go off of it and you'll revert back to this, and you'll just reach for the crap or the things that aren't the best choice for you. So I always encourage people when they're first getting started to at least make a plan and just follow through with it, because at the end of the day you can feel good that you followed your plan, and your brain will really like it. Your brain's going to adapt to it. It's just like planning your time. It's like when you don't plan out your time, you don't get as much done. You're all scattered. You feel overwhelmed. And that's just that overwhelmed feeling is just another way for your brain to like keep you stuck. And that's the same way it is with food. Like it just, if you don't plan, it's just another way for your brain just to keep you stuck, and you don't have to make any decisions. But once you start making decisions and you plan it out, it's going to give you so much freedom. Now, it's important to make sure that you plan something that you feel like you can stick with. If you're planning to just restrict your food to this bare minimum, it's going to be a struggle to make it through, because you're still going to, you still might feel, you're going to have feelings come up. So if you really restrict your food, you're going to feel even more deprived than you would if you would just eat enough food. I can't stress that enough. It's so important to really make a plan that you can follow through on, so that you can have some success at the end of the day, and you can really see that you can do this, because you can do this. It's just you've told yourself for so long that you can't. But you can do it. I mean, if I can do it, anybody can do it. And once you get used to it, it's just like a no-brainer. You just do it on default. It becomes your new default. Like I said, for me to go back to eating sugar or drinking wine or anything like that would be so unnatural for me today, because I've retrained my brain. So it's something that no one has ever really taught us to do. It's a skill. It's like learning a language. It's like being dropped off in Italy with no understanding of Italian and trying to learn the language. This is a skill that you have to learn, but you can train your brain to take charge and follow some kind of plan. If you feel like you can't give up sugar right away, plan it out, but don't go outside of it. Plan one thing, and then don't go outside of that. So stick to your plan no matter what. Eventually you can make tweaks to the plan. And I still do that. It's kind of like a soft plan, and it's like I make changes to it. I pretty much stick to it every day, but I make changes, things like start becoming a problem, or I think I like them too much, or I just make adjustments, and it's like not a big deal, because once you have that control over, you have that part of your brain that is, that has control, you can choose. Right now, you probably feel like you don't have a choice, but that's a thought. You do have a choice. You've just never accessed that part of your brain to choose. So planning is key. Either plan it out the night before or plan it the day of, exactly what you're going to eat today. Make sure that you get enough food. Make sure that it's something that you can live with and that you aren't, whining about, so that you can have a win, so that you can make it through this day with a win at the end of the day. And that's what I wanted to share with you today. And tomorrow I will be back with secret number 3. Oops, I dropped my headset. Okay, have a great day. Bye.